Hey everyone, J7Jace here, bringing you a video on if mounting Chocobos is worth it in Final Fantasy Tactics. For the too long didn't read though, the short answer is no in nearly all cases. As they take up a character spot on the battlefield, you will be giving up a turn to ride them, the Chocobo also can't act while being mounted, and lastly, you can virtually match their mobility with Teleport or Move plus 3. However, there are a few situations and benefits to riding these adorably large chickens, which I'll be discussing shortly. To start off, there are three chocobos which can be enticed and ridden on: the standard yellow chocobo, black, and lastly, red chocobo. Even though they have all the same move and jump stats, along with swim, the black and red are by far superior mounts, with the black having fly and the red having ignore height, making them a lot more useful on a variety of maps, with the black being best mobility wise, as you can fly over enemies if surrounded. You can also bring up the fact that they can be pretty decent party members, with the red being superior in my opinion, but I'm just going to primarily be focusing on how useful they are as mounts and if you should mount them. Just note that by riding a chocobo, the rider will now gain the bird's movement in place of your own. So that means you will lose any kind of movement abilities, including but not limited to things like teleport, life font, treasure hunter, and so on. The first opportunity where you can mount a chocobo will be in the mandatory fight in chapter 2 at Aragway Woods, where you can recruit Bogo. I do recommend the option in saving him, as you can get a bravery increase. Just make sure he doesn't get KO'd or it's game over. If you want to deploy him in your future battles for whatever reason and use him as a mount, you can check his status by going to the mounted character and hitting R1 or L1 to check on his HP and other things. However, I believe the greatest benefit to riding chocobos is the fact that you can cure them of certain negative status ailments, and the rider will also be immune to some of these as well, which are its greatest strengths, on top of gaining the chocobo's move stats and movement abilities. Now the status effects are a bit limited, but if the chocobo is confused, poisoned, stopped, is sleeping, doomed, or disabled and immobilized, then mounting it will cure it of its negative status ailments, which can be useful especially if you don't have an ability or item to cure it, and more importantly, you can even save its life. You can still mount a floated chocobo and it looks pretty cool when moving on it. Just note that you can't mount a chocobo if it's a chicken, toad, or in berserker status, and of course the more obvious petrify. Another cool feature of the chocobo is when you use jump and they are mounted. During this time the bird can't be targeted, so it's like having two characters being off the battlefield, and after the character lands, the rider and chocobo will also change direction to where you attacked. Just avoid depth 2 water in the PSX version, or else your game will freeze. You can bypass this though if your character has the movement abilities Walk on Water or Move in Water equipped. Now what about the person on the chocobo? Clearly, he or she must get certain benefits when mounted, which they actually do. Just note that if a person is already inflicted with certain status elements, they won't be cured of them if they have them when mounting the chocobo. However, if mounted, they are immune to a wide variety of things, such as Marlboro spores, doom, disable, undead, petrify, blind, confuse, silence, vampire, oil, float, berserk, toad, poison, slow, stop, sleep, disable, and immobilize. You can still be charmed though, and while your bravery will be decreased by chicken or intimidate, you won't ever go under 10 bravery, meaning you're also immune to the chicken status. You can still be affected by all beneficial status effects, and this includes invisible, so enjoy stealth mode on your large chocobo floof. Last but not least, I'm going to talk about a few situations where mounting chocobos can be really useful. In my opinion, I feel there is one major optional area where riding a chocobo has its benefits. To me, Midlight's Deep is a great place for it, as the chocobo will protect you from the negative status element traps and also from the negative status elements that can be inflicted by many of the stronger enemies. Their mobility is really nice, especially with the black Chocobos fly, so it can help you find the exits easier. Lastly, it's also very good for your characters with Treasure Hunter. Even though you can't pick up items while on the Chocobo, being mounted can help you reach some of the more difficult locations. Just remember to dismount and walk on the tile with the item. If you are struggling against Kukulane because of his Nightmare and his Bio spells, or because you forgot to buy a Protect Ring, mount Boko to protect you from these effects. Even though I don't think it's worth mounting Chocobos in nearly all scenarios, there are some pretty cool mechanics and features when it comes to riding them, and you can't forget that it looks really cool. That's it for this one. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.